Biden and his campaign, so Kamala Harris especially has been hitting the campaign trail hard about the abortion issue, which is, here's the benefit of having a female vice president or female in the White House, is she can talk about this more cogently than Biden can, or most of the other people there. But they just did this commercial, and this commercial is called Willow's Box, and they're going to run this heavily throughout the state of Arizona and all the swing states. But this is what's going on. So check this out, because this is just tragic.
This is one of our Willow boxes. This is just filled with some of the things that we had started gathering for her while I was pregnant.
Yep.
There's her little baby book. This is the outfit that she was gonna maybe wear home from the hospital. All of these. This is the blanket that she was in. And these are her little footprints.
It's okay.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
So that's the message.
Excuse me,
that's
would you
going out.
mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no
That's
problem.
going on. So, pretty powerful shit.
Yeah, well, you know what? People don't bother to actually stop and think about that. Like, this woman is an example of someone who, she did not have the abortion. She still does not have her beautiful baby. And she almost died twice.
And now it's unlikely she'll ever have children because they didn't give her the procedure.
And she's clearly somebody who wanted to have them.
Yeah, so her life has just been ruined because of this law. They could have just given her the procedure and she'd be fine. It'd be done. She'd be able to have another kid.
She wouldn't have almost died, and she would be able to, once, feeling better about it, try to conceive again and be able to do so.
Well, and people forget that too. The other thing about the abortion laws is, what's like 1 in 4 pregnancies is a miscarriage, results in a miscarriage. People forget how pregnancy's not like, it's not. This is the problem. People think, okay, you get pregnant and you have a kid. It's not that hard. Pregnancy is a life-threatening event. It's, half of all humans died from childbirth. I mean, that's just a historical fact. I mean, it doesn't happen as much today as it used to, but because we have a lot more better medical technology. But yeah, it's dangerous. I know a woman who they thought normal, healthy pregnancy, complications occurred. She decided to keep the baby, ended up causing blood clotting and issues, and they had to amputate both her legs. And that was the result of the pregnancy, complications with the pregnancy. I had a friend who, she finally had a kid after she miscarried 7 or 8 times. And she probably wouldn't have been able to have a kid because every time she miscarried, they had to abort it.
Right.
And if they didn't, she had to carry a dead fetus inside of her for 9 months. Or a dead child while it was growing and incubating, even though it was dead. And that's what they're doing in Texas. They have women who are 8 months pregnant because they can't get an abortion, and the child is dead. They're carrying a corpse around inside them. But they can't get an abortion because it's illegal.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's fucking insane. I wanted to cover this real quick while we're talking, because the abortion issue, I mean, it's going to be huge. Because this is why they passed Roe, or the Supreme Court did the arguments on Roe. But when the Roe came through, you got to remember, this was common, like it is starting to become now throughout the United States, where thousands and thousands, it's hundreds of thousands of women now, every year get abortions. Now a lot of them can't. So you're talking about tens of thousands of women are going through similar shit because they can't get abortions. And it used to be, okay, well, we do it, what's called a DNC, which is a pretty simple procedure to get rid of the miscarriage or the problem, or if it's an ectopic pregnancy, which can be which is often lethal. It can be fatal for the mother.
Yeah, those are really dangerous.
Right. I want to talk about this because when you talk to people who are pro-life, they always do the baby, and we want to protect the baby, the Trump shit, right? We want to protect the precious baby shit. We're always forgetting there's another person here. The person carrying the child. That's who we're talking. We're talking about their rights too. That's why I've said before, it doesn't matter to me if you want to say it's a person at the moment that the sperm enters the egg or the penis enters the vagina or whatever. You know, you can say that, it's fine, but the bottom line is, does it have rights at that point? I don't agree with that, but I don't think it does. And I think, furthermore, even if we wanted to concede that, okay, it has rights. Okay, does it have the right to use the mother's body without her permission? We wouldn't allow that in any other scenario, but for this one, you guys make an exception. And it's...
If a man decides to use the woman's body without her permission, we call that rape. We don't let that be okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, and these are the same people who are like, well, I'm not going to wear a mask or get a vaccine. It's like, well, nobody made anybody get a vaccine. It was voluntary, you know. But the thing about that, too, is like, well, okay, my body, my choice for me, but not for a pregnant woman. Once again, it's always for them. It's for me, socialism for me, not for thee, right? I should have rights, you shouldn't. But I want to talk about this because these are the types of women that get pregnant, right? Or they get abortions, sorry. And I want to go through this issue. So, just this article in the New Yorker, they're just talking about different people who get abortions and whatnot, and they had some neat charts in here. So, since Roe v. Wade, abortions spiked for a while because they became legal and they were reported. Now, statistically speaking, did they really go up that much? No. It was just legal abortions went way up. So they were being reported. Right now in these states where it's illegal, lots and lots of women are still getting abortions. They're just not doing it legally, which means it's unsafe because they're usually hiring somebody or they're taking something over, you know, some drug they got from somewhere. So abortions that if you can see this graph have gone way the fuck down. It's lower than it was. Way, way lower than it was pre-Roe. Now, these are the types of people. So, 40% have never had children before. 60% of women that get abortions already have children. They just can't afford more. Or they don't have the time, or they just want to be a better parent to the kids they have. So they get pregnant, and they don't want to have the third kid, so they get an abortion. Because they want to focus on the two existing kids. Right?
Right.
So 60%, that's over half. That's 6 out of 10 already have kids. All right? Now, when do they do it? First trimester, 43% have it in the first 6 weeks. Now, part of that, too, is because of that's number's gone up because of the availability of abortifacients, right? Drugs that you can take, like the morning after pill or Plan B, right? A lot of the stuff you can get, and you can get it mailed now, which they're trying to make illegal.
Plan B is not an abortion. It's different
Right.
from the abortion pill.
Right. But, it's a contraceptive, right?
Right.
By
Yeah.
definition.
Yeah.
But I'm like, so you can get these abortifacients now through the mail, except for they're trying to make that illegal now, and now it is illegal in Arizona. You can't even take the drug to have an abortion. You can't sell it, or you're doing 2 years in prison. They're trying to ban it in all these other states. So that's a factor. And then 36%, so 7 to 9 weeks. So already there, you're looking at 80% almost, right, in the first 9 weeks. And then they do 10 to 13 weeks is 13, 14 to 15 is 3%, and then 16 weeks or more is 4%. And the 16 weeks or more, 16 weeks or more, those are like life-threatening kinds of instances that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So when Republicans are, they want to abort babies as they're coming out of the birth canal, it's like, no, that's called a birth, dipshit. That doesn't make any sense. At that point, it's a living person, right?
No, it looks like it's about 80% of them are within the first 9 weeks. And, you know, as we discussed before, within the first 6 weeks, you know, somebody might not realize they're pregnant until after 6 weeks has even gone by.
Right.
Very, very easily. If you're not a super regular person, you might
Right.
not even take a test until you're 6 weeks.
Right. You might not know. But I wanted to point that out. But part of that argument is, well, most happen in the first 6 weeks, so we'll just do a six-week ban or a 15-week ban or whatever it is. That's where they come up with those numbers. But part of it is like, well, that's even stupider because the 7% that happen after 15 weeks, the 4% that happen after 16, those procedures are the ones that are the most medically necessary. Those are the ones where they decided to keep the child and then something went wrong. That's not, I've been pregnant now for 8 months and I've just decided, well, you know, after I've decided I'm going to change my mind, I don't want to have the kid. That doesn't fucking happen. I mean, if it does, it's so rare that we don't know much or ever about it. I mean, and that person's probably got some severe mental issues. If you're gonna, I've been pregnant for 8 months, I'm, you know, fully gestated, I'm about ready to pop, but, you know, I decided.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Made it.
Decided,
My
nope,
mind.
Nope. No. And all those are, and under Roe even, in the third trimester, those late abortions, had to have a medical reason. There had to be a doctor sign off on that and go, yeah, it's necessary to do this. Not just, I just changed my mind. So that's all bullshit when they do that. Let's look at this real quick. So a lot of girls, so teenage pregnancies way down since abortion rights. And part of that is because states that have abortion rights also have better sex ed for kids. They have more contraception, access to contraception. Because a lot of these states where they're banning abortion, they're also banning access to contraception. Like even simple shit like condoms, they're trying to ban. So basically, what they're really trying to do is make sex a punishment. I mean, it's weird draconian Christian shit. I don't know what to tell you. It's religious shit. But most women, if you can see this, are between 20 to 35. Right? Only 24% are outside of that range. 9% of teens and women 35 or older are 15%. And that's up actually because more women are having careers and waiting longer. So, I mean, abortions as share of pregnancies have gone way, way down for all age groups. And then, of course, education is a big factor for abortions. College people less so than people without college, or some college or less. But I just wanted to point this out. It's like this is a sort of a universal thing where it's a health issue. It's not about we want to kill babies. It's about the health of the mothers, typically the health of the women. It's about having the rights to choose what to do with your body and to choose to do what to do with your own health. And they realize now, when we ban this shit, it is devastating to tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people sometimes. And now these people's lives are ruined because of this. And it's one of those things where for years they were like, we're not going to do national, we'll just leave it to the states. And then, of course, they lied about that shit. And then it's like, the Supreme Court justices aren't going to turn Roe v. Wade. Bush told us that. Trump told us that. No, they're not going to do that. And then they did. Now they're like, well, the states can decide and the voters can vote on it. Well, no, because the courts are pushing this. And the Senate won't even hear it. Or the Congress in the state of Arizona won't even hear the case. Won't even hear the bill. So, no, it's a minority rule issue at this point. And it's pissing people off. So I think, this is going to be a big issue at the polls, and it should be. I mean, but this is what you get with conservative rule. And it's just a nightmare. But we'll move on real quick, unless you had something else you wanted to add to that.
No.
But I just wanted to cover why this is it's just a hot issue, and it should be. And they should all be politically punished for their position.